Hi, my name is Eric Shoemaker, and this is going to be my Communications 1010 class, Persuasive Speech. In a time where organic and vegan diets that look to get us closer to nature have become very popular, and many people view them as the future of healthier eating, it seems unlikely that the modern food source solution that we might need to come to is something that many people consider to be very unnatural. Today I'm going to tell you why you should support the use of genetically modified foods instead of fearing them as many people do today. Before I give you any of the arguments for the use of genetically modified foods, I'm going to tell you more about what a genetically modified organism, or GMO, is. A GMO is an organism whose DNA has been altered by inserting the genetic material from another organism into its own genetic code. And the purpose of doing this is to either give the organism a phenotype from another organism that it didn't already have, or to enhance or amplify the expression of a phenotype that the organism did already have. Because in the United States it is illegal to sell meat from animals that are genetically modified, the term GMO, when talking about foods, only refers to fruits and vegetables. The GMO fruits and vegetables are normally designed to give resistance to a certain disease or parasite that normally affects it, give resistance to a pesticide so that the weeds around the genetically modified organism can be killed without harming the organism itself. Another function of the GMO is to delay ripening to increase the shelf life of the fruit or vegetable, or increase the yield of the entire fruit or vegetable itself, or cause it to produce more vitamin or another dietary supplement inside of it to make it more healthy. Most genetically modified organisms today are not the type of food that you would pick up off of the store shelf and take a bite out of immediately, like an apple. They're more common to be grains or oats, which are used to bake into a larger recipe or used as animal feeds. But it is also very common to see GMO rice, corn, potatoes, tomatoes, and squash. It is estimated, as was stated by the WebMD article Biotech Foods, that 60 to 70% of processed foods that are sold on store shelves today contain at least one GMO ingredient. With the benefits of GMOs that I just stated, it seems that there wouldn't be any arguments against the use of GMOs, but this isn't the case. Many people fear that altering the genetic code of an organism may produce toxins, allergens, or cancer-causing agents that can be very harmful to the people that eat them. This fear has been intensified by the fact that separate labeling is not required for GMO foods in the United States. So there isn't a label that tells you on a certain food that it contains a GMO product. You wouldn't know the difference between something that is all natural and something that contains genetically modified ingredients. And genetically modified organisms are required to have approval from the Food and Drug Administration before they can be sold on store shelves. But another fear people have about GMOs is the fact that the FDA normally allows the companies that develop the GMO to do their own testing for safety. And, as stated in the PBS article, are GM food sufficiently regulated in the United States that of the more than 5,000 requests to sell genetically modified organisms, they have never declined that request to the companies. So oftentimes it appears that the GMOs do not have sufficient testing before they are sold on store shelves, which causes fear in some people. But counter to this, despite the fact that it might sound risky, is that according to many peer-reviewed studies done by universities and other organizations, that the genetically modified crops pose no higher risk than normal foods. A certain study done by the University of California called Safety of Genetically Engineered Foods, which was done in 2006, also agrees with this fact, saying that there is no greater risk to eating the GMOs than there is to eating a normal natural fruit or vegetable. A lot of the controversy and the suspected dangers of GMOs comes from fundamental misunderstanding of what a GMO is. A GMO is created with the same result as crossbreeding, which humans have done for thousands of years, by combining two different fruits or vegetables with desirable traits and breeding them together, hoping to get one single organism that has all of the desirable traits. Creating a GMO achieves the same result, but more faster and selectively, by being able to pick and choose what certain gene you wish to take from a certain organism and place it into another organism. So the process of crossbreeding has been done for thousands of years by humans, and it has not produced the dangers that people expect from GMOs. So if no evidence has proved factually that there is any danger from GMOs, why should we bother to continue researching them? Well, even though the world population growth rate has declined slightly during the past few years, the world's population still grows by 50 million individuals per year, as a U.S. Census Bureau study proved. This means that more land is needed for housing of the new individuals who walk the earth, and less can be used for land to grow food to feed and sustain them. So that we do not run out of space and create world hunger by not having enough room to grow crops, more efficient use of the land is needed to feed the growing world population. So as the amount of farming land available shrinks, it's necessary to make the fastest and most effective use of it possible. An example of why increasing the yield of farmland is very important has been shown by the American scientist Norman Borlaug, who is known as the man who saved 1 billion lives. Norman Borlaug worked in Mexico to develop a new strain of wheat which was much higher yield and able to resist diseases, unlike the current strains of wheat being grown. His research was done during a time when there was a famine in South Asia, and through the use of his newly designed species of wheat, it was able to end the famine and cause the people to be able to survive on the land, which is why he is known as the man who saved 1 billion lives, because people estimate that there would not be enough land to sustain the current world population if it wasn't for his faster growing techniques. This data is from the Nobel Prize website, who did a biography on him, because he won the Nobel Prize back in the 1960s when his research took place. Although Norman Borlaug's research did not involve creating GMOs in the modern sense, he used crossbreeding, it achieves the same result, and it shows why GMOs are so important to us today with the increasing population. Because we may need faster growing techniques if we are to save the next 1 billion lives who will walk the earth, which is expected that the world's population will grow from 7 billion to 8 billion by the year 2025. So, for the reasons that I stated earlier, the benefits of GMOs, their ability to resist disease, produce higher yield, and stay on the shelves for longer, shows why it is very important for us to support them. And the fact that they are not dangerous also supports this fact. Because with the current economic downturn, many people cannot afford to turn to the healthy options such as organic food, which are more expensive and have shorter shelf life. So although many people currently are afraid of it, there's really no reason to fear GMO foods, and they may end up being the future if the human population is to continue growing at the current rate. Thank you.